They think you're going to lose it. They want you to break down, to lose control, to give them the satisfaction of watching you crumble. They're salivating at the idea of your rage, your tears, your desperation. That's the kind of power they crave, the cheap kind, like a thief stealing pennies instead of earning them. But you're smarter than that. You've got something they'll never understand: your silence. Silence isn't weakness. It's a weapon, a shield, a stage. It's where the real battle happens. When you stop reacting, when you pull the rug out from under their petty little plans, you strip them bare. All that power, that control they think they have, it disappears into thin air. All they're left with is their own reflection, empty, powerless, pathetic. You've felt it, haven't you? The urge to scream, to fight back, to defend yourself. Oh, they're counting on that. They've already played out the scene in their heads. You react, they win. It's their game, a game of reactions. But silence? Silence is a game they can't play. Picture this: a puppet master, strings in hand, watching their marionette dance. Now, imagine the puppet cuts the strings. Silence. The puppet master's smirk fades. The crowd gasps. The puppet master is left holding nothing, useless strings. That's you, the puppet who stops dancing, the silence that leaves them powerless. But silence isn't just about not talking. It's a message. It roars without sound. It says, "You don't own me. You don't define me. I'm not your puppet." It's the ultimate power move, a move they never saw coming. And why do they hate silence? Because it forces them to face themselves. And trust me, they won't like what they see. Silence is a mirror, and most people can't stand their own reflection. They'll try to fill the void with noise, with lies, with blame. But it's too late. Your silence has already exposed them. Think about it. A lion doesn't roar to scare the jungle. It stalks silently, waiting. And when it strikes, the jungle remembers. Silence is your jungle, where you plot, where you grow stronger. Let them laugh, let them mock. They're the hyenas, loud, obnoxious, living off scraps. But you're the lion. Every time you stay silent, you remind them that they don't matter. They're words, just noise in a world you've already conquered. And the best part? They can't handle it. They'll twist and squirm, trying to provoke you, pull you back into their circus. But you won't react. You'll stand there, silent, unshaken. A fortress they can't breach. Silence isn't about surrender. It's about control. Your control. They can't manipulate what they can't predict. When you stop reacting, you become a mystery, a puzzle they'll never solve. That's power. History proves this. The greatest revolutions, the most powerful movements, didn't begin with screams. They began with silence. People standing together, unbroken, unyielding. Silence is the seed of change, the spark of revolution. And here's the thing: silence isn't for them. It's for you. It's your sanctuary, your weapon, your declaration of independence. It's you saying, "I don't need your validation, your approval, your games. I am enough." They don't care about you. They care about control. Your reaction feeds their illusion of power. But when you stay silent, when you refuse to play their game, you take that power back. And that terrifies them. Their power? It's not real. It's borrowed, stolen, a shadow of the strength you carry inside. Your silence shines a spotlight on their lies, their weaknesses. They'll call you cold, distant, heartless. Good. Let them. Silence isn't about pleasing others. It's about protecting yourself, your peace, your strength. So let them think they've won. Let them celebrate your silence as their victory. They won't realize until it's too late. that your silence isn't surrender. It's a storm, gathering strength. And when it breaks, when you decide to speak, to act, the world will remember. Until then, let the silence speak for you. Let it scream louder than their words ever could, because silence isn't empty. It's full of power, defiance, and unshakable strength. They thought your reaction would give them power, but your silence? It took it all away. They'll hate it. Your silence is like a splinter in their minds, a nagging itch they can't scratch. They'll twist themselves into knots, trying to figure it out. Why aren't they reacting? Why aren't they fighting back? And the paranoia? It's a delicious thing to watch. But silence isn't passive. It's not the silence of someone too scared to fight. No, it's the silence of someone who's done fighting pointless battles. Someone who's moved past the petty games and the need to prove themselves. It's the silence that says, I don't owe you anything. The world is loud. Too loud. Everyone is shouting, desperate to be heard, desperate to matter. But in all that noise, do you know what stands out? Quiet. Stillness. A person who doesn't need to scream to make their presence known. That's you. You're becoming a force, a storm that doesn't need thunder to be felt. People are afraid of silence. It forces them to listen to themselves. And trust me, they don't like what they hear. When you go silent, it's not about ignoring them. It's a mirror. When they look into it, what do they see? Their own fears, their weaknesses. They're fighting themselves, not you. Control doesn't come from domination. It comes from staying unbothered, sitting back while they dance around trying to provoke you, and you just don't react. Let them tire themselves out, like a child throwing a tantrum. And when they're done, you're still standing, calm, untouchable. Silence is the scariest response of all. A scream is predictable. A shout is comforting. Even an insult gives them something to hold on to. But silence? Silence is a void. And people fear the void because it's unknown, uncontrollable. Your silence isn't just a lack of noise. It's a declaration. It says, I see you, I understand you, and you're not worth my energy. Imagine them standing in front of a locked door, banging on it, demanding you open it. But you're on the other side, sipping your drink, calm, unshaken. They don't even know if you're still there, and that drives them mad. They wanted chaos, but you gave them nothing. And nothing? Nothing is more powerful than they'll ever understand. You ever see those people online throwing hate around like confetti? They thrive on reactions. Every comment, every reply, is fuel for their fire. But when you ignore them, when you leave their words hanging in the void, unanswered, they burn out. Their fire dies because you didn't give it air. That's what your silence does. It starves them. They'll try to twist it. They'll call you weak, passive, scared. But deep down, they know the truth. They know your silence is strength. It's restraint. It's you saying, I could destroy you, but I won't. Not because I can't, but because you're not worth it. Silence isn't easy. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. Every part of you will want to fight back, to prove them wrong, to make them feel what you feel. But you have to resist. Stay still. Stay quiet. Stay strong. That's what makes silence powerful. And it's not about them. It never was. Your silence is for you. It's your armor, your sanctuary. It's where you heal, where you grow, where you become someone they can't touch. They thought your reaction would give them power, but your silence took it all away. It left them exposed, vulnerable, powerless. And that's the real victory. Not the scream, not the fight, but the quiet, unshakable strength of someone who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. You think your silence won't change a thing? That they'll just move on and find another target? Let me tell you, they won't. They've invested too much in you. You're their obsession, their masterpiece, proof that they can break someone. But when you don't break, when you stay quiet and let their schemes rot in the filth they came from, that eats them alive. Picture a chessboard. They think you're their pawn. They move you. You respond. They win. You lose. But what happens when the pawn stops moving? When the board freezes and their opponent just walks away? They're left staring at a lifeless game. They don't know what to do because their power only exists in the game. And you've stepped off the board. They'll tell you silence is weakness, that you're running away. But let me ask you this. Who's really running? Is it you, standing firm in your silence? Or is it them, scrambling for ways to provoke you? They're the ones running from their own insignificance. You're not running. You're refusing to play their pathetic little games, and that terrifies them. Here's the dirty little secret they don't want you to know. They're scared of you. They'll never admit it. They'll laugh, mock, belittle. But deep down, in the darkest corners of their minds, they're terrified. Why? Because they know you're stronger than them. They know you've endured more than they ever could. And your silence? It's the proof they can't deny. They thrive on control, chaos, reactions. They're predators, feeding off fear and pain. But you're not prey. You're the storm, the hurricane that doesn't need to scream to be heard. They can't fight what they can't predict. Your silence is their defeat, their nightmare. Real power isn't in the loudest voice or the sharpest blade. It's in the unshaken will of someone who refuses to be moved. It's in the quiet strength of someone who doesn't need to fight to win. That's what you have, and they'll never understand it.